we're giving them hype. Go and watch the VODs of the challenge battles. Then you'll understand the hype coming in with this team. Let's talk about the draft a little bit, gentlemen, because these teams have, or these players, as you rightly say, star-studded players, they have very signature picks, right? But they also have very wide hero pools. Like, how do you go into a draft like this? What is your mentality? Like, are you just looking at meta and forgetting comfort picks? Or is that just too dangerous to do?
Yeah, well, Mousesports bans Baron, normally on both sides. Calamity bans Grumpjaw on A side, and they ban Grace every time on B side. And then Leon plays Castro, plays Idris, plays Backflare. This guy can play anything. So it's very interesting to see how the draft is going to play out because Leon has such a deep hero pool.
Yeah, and obviously with Aeon bringing the pedal to the table in the challenge battles, like you can't really ban against the side of Calamity specifically, so you really just have to focus on the meta, ban what is strong against what you want to play for your second ban, and just try and build yourself a strong focus on your own composition and don't really worry too much about what Calamity is doing.
Yeah, for sure. Grace and Kestrel going to be banned away here. Kestrel, huge priority pick for both of these teams. Calamity not wanting that to go over to the Doom. And that's going to be a Lyra first lock-in here, which that has been the first pick of every game so far.
Yeah, it has. Lyra, normally Grace is banned, and Lyra will get picked up. That leaves Baron open, but most teams will opt for the Vox or the Idris normally, and then ban the Baron. I think for Calamity specifically, though, they'll probably go for the Vox and then ban away the Baron here. And that will leave Idris open for Mousesports. But I know that Afo does play a Gwen, so he may actually play Gwen into this Vox. So let's see how that's going to work out once they get to their side there. But Baron ban would make a lot of sense here. But they're going to set ban the Blackfeather and leave Baron open. This is extremely risky for Calamity because Baron is actually pretty good into Vox, especially when you have a Lyra on your side.
Mate, I'm calling it right now. Baron to the lane, CP Vox in the jungle. Maybe not. Maybe that would be a little bit risky. But, I mean, taking away both Kestrel and Blackfeather, that as a pair of bans is not meta.
Yeah, they're targeting a jungler, so Samuel might get banned here, and then, they're going to actually just take away Arden. So that means that leaves Samuel open for Calamity. We have seen Aeon on the pedal, though, and we have seen him play, for example, Koshka even. So he has a pretty deep hero pool. He's actually even played Scarf and played really well on Scarf. So are they going to secure Samuel here? Are they going to give Mousesports a weapon power laner with Samuel, which is such a strong composition with Lyra here? So let's see what Calamity is going to decide. Or they're going to secure like Cath or... oh, yeah, Cath. Cath comes out as soon as I say it. That's so funny. And now that gives Samuel over to Mousesports and Baron or Gwen here.
Yeah, I would expect, honestly, both Samuel and Baron could come out. The Catherine can do well into the Baron if you just save the Merciless Pursuit for the jump after the jump jets, or make sure you use that Storm Guard as soon as the jump jets come out and just try and reflect a ton of damage right back at Mousesports.
Now, I want to remind you guys about a terrifying composition that exists that is Vox, Catherine, and Baptiste. We've seen a couple of teams use this now. That Wombo combo is horrendous to try and deal with. And that's open for Calamity right now.
Yeah, if that is... I was just going to say that, so Munch was an amazing job catching that. If they do not pick Baptiste here, Calamity will most likely take it, and that's going to be a pretty devastating combo against a Mousesport. So I think they'll probably pick up the Samuel here, though. Either Samuel or Scarf into the Calamity's composition, but I think they'll probably lean towards the Samuel with the Weapon Power Glaive. And that's going to leave Baptiste for Calamity, and that's going to be a pretty solid composition and draft for Calamity, because that's just hard to deal with when you have the silence with the Fearsome Shade. You have two things you need to block, and that's what makes that combo so deadly. And Glaive, it's not that good into Vox. If you can like afterburn Vox into a wall and shut him down and blow him up, it would work. But you have Cath to protect the Vox. So we have Celeste here, which Cath is a good counter to Celeste. What do you think, Bacon?
Yeah, Catherine can definitely do pretty well into a Celeste. I think the idea here for Mousesports is going to be to try and use that glaive to isolate a target and then drop the core collapse underneath where they're going to get afterburn to, so that they get that double stun and just keep that target unable to really react for an extended period of time, try and blow them up in that time period. So there will be a lot of burst potential, but it's going to have to wait until sort of that 8-minute mark is, or not 8 minutes, the level 8 for the Celeste is going to be so incredibly important for Mousesports to be able to try and find these team fights. And There we go with another Krull. This Krull is starting to really become a popular pick.
Krull pick.
People love Krull right now. Like this seems to be something that is fitting into more compositions than I was ever expecting coming into this week of the Vainglory8.
Yeah, I like Krull into the Celeste because Celeste typically wants to build up broken mid stacks and then fire off that big Solar Storm. Whereas if you have Krull get onto her, yeah, she's going to build those broken mid stacks, but Krull's going to be building those weakness stacks. And so the Solar Storm is just going to have a significantly lower impact as long as it's executed properly.
Now, Krull earlier today didn't have that much success. Do we feel like this composition fits the Krull a little bit better?
Yeah, I love it, especially Kath into a Celeste and a Krull. Like, that's really solid. So I feel like Calamity won the draft here.
Okay, so all about shutting down that Celeste. Is that what we're looking out for in this game? Anything that can come out from the side of Mouse to stop that happening?
It's really just going to be about Glaive and Lyra trying to protect the Celeste. Using the Bright Bulwark. The Bright Bulwark cooldown is going to be such a important management for the side of Mousesports to make sure Celeste stays safe.
So basically, this entire game is going to be down to the hands of this Celeste. Keep your eyes on it during the game. Hashtag Vainglory8. Let us know whether you want Mouse to rise to the top of Europe once more, or if you want Calamity to come on in swinging to the Vainglory8. Hashtag Vainglory8 on Twitter to let us know. But it's time to jump onto the Halcyon Ford for the second series of today.
One of the flashiest Vainglory8 teams out there in Mousesports, going up against the flashiest, most high-powered Challenger Series team to come through the challenge battles in Calamity Reborn. This is going to be incredibly exciting, as this is a real treat here, Jackson.
This is one of the most exciting games we could have asked for week 1 of Split 2. Honestly, I can't believe that we're getting to see it so quickly here. It's also kind of heartbreaking for Calamity Reborn because I'm sure they would have liked arguably an easier path to get to day number 2 in their first week to show that they're the team that everyone thinks that they are. They are an incredibly, incredibly strong lineup of players, and I'm sure if they were up against one of our weaker VGA teams, they'd have super good odds. As it stands, I think they still can do it, but I'm sure they would have liked something a little bit easier.
Yeah, but what a way to do it, though. If you can come in here, take a series off Mouse, it would be a huge win. Up in this lane, we're going to have Apfel on to Glaive against Leon's Vox, which would be a pretty interesting matchup. Sweet J was talking about the Vox can do pretty well, unless Glaive gets a great afterburn to follow up on. And we'll see also, maybe they can follow up with some double stuns later on in the game as well. For now, it's going to be Ren and Aeon moving forward, looking to see if they can steal anything, but Just Man, I'm the Doom have already cleared out their jungle, so they'll be getting out of here.
Yeah, so far not too much crazy stuff going on. Compositionally, I wouldn't expect that much crazy stuff to happen this game, at least not yet. It really is not a game with a super high octane composition coming out of one of these teams. I do think what we have out of Calamity Reborn is pretty interesting, though. We of course have the Catherine pick, which is not something we've seen a tremendous amount of recently. It's always been a captain that can be very effective, but not necessarily one that's been picked a ton. I think Silence is a huge tool against what Mouse is bringing, though. So having it both in the form of the Catherine Blast Tremor and the Vox Wait for it, I like that a lot. It also buys a lot of time for perhaps the backup of Aeon on that Krull to get into position.
Oh yeah, if you can chain some stuns together. Also, it's just Aeon has to say, look, I've got my ult, I'm ready to throw it. Rerun says, all right, boom, there's your Merciless Pursuit stun. Much easier to land that double stun and follow it up with whatever combo they really want. Should be exciting. Of course, Kath got a buff on the Captain of the Guard in the last update, or maybe the one before that. I think it was just the last update. Going from 1 to 2 armor shield per stack on that heroic perk is a really big deal. That's a huge buff.
Oh, absolutely. It's very, very nice stuff. We'll see if it's going to be enough here. But talking about Apfel in the lane on the Glaive, let's do that for a second. This is a player who came into the Vainglory8 last season, made some serious waves. I'm curious to see if his Glaive is as strong as his Vox has been. He certainly knows how to play against a Vox, given how much he plays it. But this is Leon we're talking about. It's scary stuff.
But this is Apfel we're talking about. I honestly, like when I was going to intro this game, hold that, Aeon, on target, I'm the Doom, a lot of damage being taken. He should be able to just get out of position there, or into a better position, we should say, using his boots. With that, Calamity Reborn do have the advantage.
Yeah,
I say that.
it's-
Just Man hanging around. Just Man, what's the play, bud? You don't have any more heals. Apple's there. Dun 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 dun. Doesn't even have to
Superman
really
save.
peel too hard.
That was very close. It's a good thing Apfel was on the ball there, and also that he hadn't used Afterburn to, for example, harass Leon. That would have been heartbreaking. But yeah, very nice by Mouse. Let's see though. I want to look at I'm the Doom real quick, because this Jungle Celeste maybe not something that everyone is super familiar with. It's not necessarily the most common pickup. It does really nicely as it scales though with levels very highly. You want to get overdrive on your Heliogenesis. It's extremely critical for a Celeste player, as I'm sure most people know. So if he can stay safe in the early game, if he can keep the farm going, that should actually be a really nice pick for Mousesports. It's also something which demands a very immediate answer in fights from the side of Calamity Reborn, and that might be a little bit difficult. I mean, Catherine, yeah, Merciless Pursuit's a great ability, but it's not a dash. You have to make your way in very, very manually, very telegraphed.
Yeah.
That can
I
be...
like the way you put it. Very manual movement there.
It is.
Very
I mean, you know,
linear.
a blink is very, very automatic. But yeah, I mean, that makes it very easy for core collapses. It's arguably the one thing which I think Catherine might be struggling with in this game.
Yeah, I mean, Riren's gonna have to have clear focus in and around these fights. If he can get the Storm Guard up, it could be huge. If you have something go Supernova, you can reflect that back. Riren with the Merciless Pursuit is gonna think twice about getting in there, as he finds that Mouse are as 3 and have a bit of an advantage in the lane. Apfel's still holding onto that Afterburn, not ready to play games with Leon yet. And I mean, this is what you touched on before. Aeon making his way up here. Does he want to move forward? They're on to target. This is Just Man taking a whole bunch of damage. And First Blood, Calamity Reborn. They see an opportunity and they just go for it very quickly.
Yeah, really nice stuff there. Calamity Reborn, the team I would expect to be making these very assertive plays. So far, they're doing a great job of that. And they do have the capacity to kind of snowball out of control here if their opponents are not careful. I think, given that they're running the Celeste on the side of Mousesports, they really need to be careful.
Really, really clean execution for them to go ahead and just take one kill and be like, all right, boom, we're going for Crystal Sentry. We're going to take the mids, we're going to take the fronts. A huge victory for Calamity Reborn in that macro gameplay right there. Very nice rotations. Aeon dips to shock, it's just going to get charged up. This is a level 5 weapon infusion coming out for Leon. What's this all about?
Well, the infusion can be very strong. Oh, hang on a second. Nice!
Whoop, from Hell's Heart with the stun, just holding him just long enough. What was that? Aeon, maybe Bright Bulwark playing some games with me there. Well, Aeon's gonna go ahead and try and move down, clear out some scout traps, see what's going on down on that Tri-Brush. Look at the Solar Storm connecting on the Rio Ren. Big play from I'm the Doom.
Yeah, very, very nice stuff there. Great turnaround. They actually
Afterburn.
want more, but...
Oh, they go for more. They take more, Jackson. They want Apfel too. Apfel, get out of here.
Oh, man.
How about them Apfels? Aeon. He is playing this role incredibly well. They're going to jump onto I'm the Doom. What is this? He's like, yo, you Dark Potato, one of the best crawls ever, dude. I'm about to show you.
Gotta be careful not to chase a loss. Yeah, you know, you found that one kill with I'm the Doom. Great. That's not obviously the loss I'm talking about. But then after that, you need to be careful to not go in and like bite off too much, and then you lose that one kill and you keep chasing it. It's a very bad mentality to have from Mouse, which can be very, very dicey. Calamity Reborn with those 4 kills are now 2,000 gold ahead at only 6.5 minutes. They've got a tension bow and a poison chip on Leon at 6.5 minutes. This is a really rough position for Mousesports. I don't know if they can come back from it if Calamity Reborn plays properly. If they continue to apply pressure, if they continue to put their foot down on the gas, it's very, very difficult. Mouse vision is key. You know, I like that they're starting to lay some stuff down. They've absolutely got to continue doing that, as far as I'm concerned.
This is a scary position to be in if you're Mousesports right now. I was kind of feeling exactly what you were saying. If Calamity Reborn just continue to play cleanly, execute, move forward, methodically as they're doing, I don't see how they could actually lose the game. But moving right forward, Just Man, he's going to be stunned up, doesn't have his ultimate. He's going to be chopped down. A big kill here for Calamity Reborn. And with that, looks like they're just going to get onto this gold miner. Pretty much every time they take a kill, they're taking an objective.
And that's one of the critical things to realize here, because so many teams don't necessarily translate the advantages that they have in fights to the important advantages they need to take on the map. They get another kill too. I mean, it's non-stop here, Humanist. It's non-stop.
Dude, but you know what this feels like? It feels like, you know those games where you load it in, you can put like a handicap on yourself? So you don't hit as hard, you have less health overall. It feels like Mousesports loaded into this game with like half the health total compared to Calamity Reborn, and Calamity Reborn like double damage.
Yeah, it definitely does. That's what happens when you get 2 tier 3 items at 6 minutes. So that's what happens when Leon hits that kind of a spike very quickly. I don't know. This is... I'm trying to think. Okay, so Vision is obviously going to be critical for Mousesports to come back into this one. What else do they need? They've already got Overdrive on I'm the Doom. That's not doing anything. I don't know. This is really
all right.
rough.
Well, I've got my idea is I'm just thinking I'm the Doom really has to play super duper careful. I know that's obvious until he gets Broken Myth. Like I just feel like until he gets Broken Myth, he's not gonna have a significant damage output threat. Apfel getting lit up. Who's the Glaive? Who's the Kroll? I thought Glaive was picked because he's pretty tanky and durable.
I mean, he certainly is, but not when you go Poison Shiv. Sarblade is your first 2 items. Like you do not have the damage you need if that's the build that you go, or sorry, the tankiness that you need. You have plenty of damage, but yeah, it's not going to pan out against, for example, the huge amount of weakness stacks here, and also just the immense amounts of damage that Leon is doing. Apfel, in order for him to be effective in this game from this point onwards, A, he needs to start building tanky, but B, he needs to actually find a target that he can isolate and pick and push back and that they can kill. I don't see that happening, though. I mean, Leon's already able to build into defense after his 2 offensive items. Like, it's... man.
Look, and you see the rotations that they've done, the last 2 rotations, super clean. Leon and Aeon have taken the backs together. So Leon's getting a little bit extra gold on himself, a little bit more than normal. 105 last hits, 9, almost 10 minutes in here. He's just doing really well.
Yeah, he's doing fantastically. Calamity Reborn aren't... one thing I like, obviously you've got to continue to apply pressure if you're ahead. Obviously you've got to leverage the kills you get into objectives. But I also feel like they're never pushing themselves too far. Like, have they even moved near the 2nd tier turret yet? No, not really. And I think that's critical to realize because they can't. Like, yeah, they're very, very strong, but they can't just dive tier 2 turret just yet. I think they need at least like 1 defensive item on Leon, for example. Because if he takes turret aggro, at the moment he's going to get blown up, right? So they're playing very smartly, but also playing perfectly. Can I say that? I feel like
I'm totally with you. I feel like this is some of like the cleanest Vainglory play we've seen in a while. I'm really excited. You know, Leon, he's been at the top before, right? Aeon's been there before. Rio Rin's played up at this level before. But Aeon, Rio Rin, we haven't seen them have huge successes. Aeon did pretty well with Gangstars, I think. But he's kind of like a quiet, passive player, I think. Leon, we know, is the opposite, and maybe this is just really good synergy for this team together, right? Like, you have someone making these shot calls to go, and everybody's just prepared, ready to follow up. Like, it feels like they're moving as, like, just one unit constantly. From the stuns coming out of Rio Rin to set up the From Hell's Hearts, the wait for it's to follow, and everything in between. It's very coordinated.
You know, for the people who've been watching the Challenger Series, this won't come as necessarily a surprise. But for some of you guys who maybe last saw Leon in previous seasons of Vainglory8, it's pretty nice seeing him in lane. I just want to say that. Like, he really, I think, thrives in that environment, in this environment. He's not able to over-aggress in the jungle, which I think was a mistake that he frequently did make when he was in that position. As a result, he's relying on the team. Although, I say this, and look at him right now, like, by himself.
He knows he wants to fight. The wait for it connects.
What is that?
How did they connect on to 3? They're all forward. Aeon trying to find target. They reposition. Rio Rin coming through. The Blaster connects on to 2 again. They are waiting, biding their time. Apfel, you gotta get out here. Tries to stand his ground. How about a triple kill for Sir Leon, who you were just singing his praises? These guys, they just waited for the perfect opportunity. They connect. How did the wait for it hit 3 and the blast turner connected on 2 on the pixel edge? That was dumb.
They did not wait for the perfect opportunity. They somehow, like, forged the perfect opportunity out of nothing. Leon was the only person within a screen of the opponents. Yet somehow it works.
But like he had to have seen like whatever he saw based off their positioning. He was like, it doesn't matter if we're not on the cleanest of engage because they're out of position. Go, 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 go.
They're too far away from their turret. Let's just kill them. You know, like they've left the safety of their bed, and now they're dead.
And now you
Speaking
stay
of
in your
poems.
bed or you'll be dead. Moving forward, Calamity Reborn trying to find the damage here for another. Oh, from Househeart's trying to connect. Just Man getting lit up. The fountain comes out. Just Man's down. Nowhere to go. Nowhere to go. This is just so hard to watch here. I thought Mousesports would be putting up a much bigger fight here in this game in particular. It does feel like Apfel's Glaive really can't accomplish anything.
What a reality check when a team that was in Challenger Series up until a week ago comes and just topples a team who's been at the top of the standings week by week. Really impressive stuff from Calamity Reborn. This is something we've come to expect from Leon whenever he is on a Vainglory8 roster and playing in his main position. They just have strong performance after strong performance. Let's see if they can close it out, though. I mean, it isn't technically over yet, even though it certainly feels that way.
It's true.
They got to put that final nail in the coffin.
Or Mousesports will pry that coffin open and put you in it.
If there had been a Crow on the other team, I could have gone places, but you know, it just didn't pan.
Could have. And rear end, Merciless Pursuit on a Just Man. Leon's there. A little bit of healing does come through, keep him in a nice, healthy fighting shape. As Calamity Reborn start to bear down onto this choke point turret, but not really getting in position where they're putting damage out onto the turret, just kind of choking Mousesports out, really. Just that's the best way to put it. Ooh, one stun into the from Malzard, into the blaster into the wait for it. Oh, those highlights. I'm like just giggly over here in my chair, Jackson.
I feel you, dude. Like, that was literally every single crowd control attack that Calamity Reborn had stacked perfectly, hard locking Just Man.
Can we get like some programmers from SCMC to just check for scripting on these guys? I just want to make sure this
It's
is
like
all
one master
legal.
program. I feel like it's got to be just one running all three accounts, right? Because
Leon's he's like logged into all three accounts at this point.
Got one running on his toes, that's for sure. I was gonna say actually before that fight, and I want to highlight just how strategically well Calamity Reborn is playing. Hopefully before an engagement happens here. If they wanted to make any more plays, they literally had to do it right then. Otherwise, they'd die and Kraken would go.
Leon's on to I'm the Doom, trying to kite back, but not quick enough from Hellsheart. And an auto from Leon takes him down. Wait for it, it's going to come through onto 2. Apfel melts, and now Just Man on the run. All of his activatables on cooldown, all of his abilities, well, there's his sigil, pretty much on cooldown. He's going to have to just dip and dodge his way out of here as Leon shoves the lane, and the other two from Calamity Reborn just start up on this Kraken. What a tough place to be in.
I don't even know if they're in a place right now. It's all over, I think, for the side of Mousesports. I don't see a way of coming back. There's only 2 turrets for this Kraken push to actually get through. Everyone from Calamity Reborn gets a free heal back to full. They get to spend their money. The steal does not happen. It's really time to start thinking about game number 2 here for Mousesports. It just is. They just got to start thinking about the draft. I think giving Leon the Vox, maybe not a good idea. Aeon has shown in seasons past, as well as this one, that his Kroll is very, very scary. Maybe the keyest lesson is giving them a composition that has the ability to stagger crowd control like this is going to end up in one person not being able to play a fight. You know, I don't know if there's necessarily an easy way around that. Maybe your carry picks Gwen. Something like that.
I mean, yeah, you got to have a get out of jail free card if you're up against the team of this caliber. And that's, I mean, not to get into Gwen too much. We'll see. Maybe in the next draft we can talk about those things. Was going to pull up for a blaster off the Merciless Pursuit. Nice block there. Now Calamity are going to just hang on the backside of this Kraken as she marches forward. She's pissed off. Vein Crystal Turret 1 is down, 1 remaining. The wait for it's going to come through. Finds the silence. Can they follow up? Their rear end dropping low. Can they get a kill? Calamity Reborn just to make them feel good. Drop one of these guys right here. Mousesports. They just want to defend our base. Can we just stay alive? Can we not lose before 17 minutes at this point? Looks like there maybe is an opportunity.
Wow.
I don't know. Celeste going down. Aeon and Rio Rin onto the Vein Crystal now. Leon zoned out, but it's not really a problem. What is it, Jackson?
Double kill.
They did it!
I think it is a step too far for Calamity Reborn. I was expecting them to back away, They're showing that they're mortal here. That's what's happening.
This was Leon playing games.
Leon, though.
That
he's
was pretty
showing
cute.
immortality. Oh, that was very cute.
That was pretty
I
cute.
think he's out, right? Apple, Afterburn, no energy, turret. Yeah. Peace. Wow, that's brutal as well, because that means there's no ace, which means that the ace minions are not going to push the turret. I think if there was an ace there, Mouse get 2 turrets. With no ace, they just get 1. So that's actually a big, big difference.
Big plays here, keeping them in the game. I mean, maybe it feels like they're still in the coffin, but somehow finding some damage through some cracks. Calamity, it does feel like Leon was playing with his food to me as they look to close that out, but this should be in short order here. It's like the net worth lead. We've seen much more devastating net worth differences, but it just
Somehow
seems
it
like
feels very
yeah,
different
exactly.
than that,
Like
right?
they have complete control over the game. Absolutely, 100%.
It's really difficult for Mousesports to find an opening now because, again, you know, you're always at risk of a backdoor. Someone like Leon can make that happen very quickly. The only saving grace here, of course, that Lyra's on Mouse's team. So if they need to blink over the wall, they can. Leon is very close right now.
The wait for it's going to come through. 2-man silence. That was a 3-man silence. How does that actually happen? Solar Storm comes through right back onto Calamity Reborn, but they keep moving forward. How about an Arcane Passage for all of them as they get a little bit closer to that Vein Crystal? This is Apfel trying to stand his ground. He'll take the Arcane Passage out. This I'm the Doom just gets melted. And while you may have stayed alive for a second, it will just inevitably still go the way of Calamity Reborn. 17-3, about 19 minutes in. Just a dominating performance here. And this is, for me, this was going to be the most exciting matchup today. Or the one I was looking forward to really the most. Just so much firepower on both sides. And wow, what a performance.
You know, it still was a very exciting game, but in like all of the wrong ways. It was just Calamity Reborn annihilating Mousesports. I don't know, other than maybe messing with the draft a little bit, what you're going to do, unless Mousesports shows a different team next game, because they really were on a different level.
Well, let's find out from our analyst Munchbles. I mean, was it a draft thing? Was it playstyle execution? We got to find out.
I mean, it may have been a Leon thing. 11-0-6. That is a disgusting scoreline. Almost as many kills and assists as minutes in the game on an individual player. But it wasn't like it was just Leon. Obviously, he was kind of getting the kills, but very much, once again, a cohesive unit coming out from these guys. Any situation they're in, all 3 of them are on board. All 3 of them are on exactly the same page.
Yeah, and this is what we're kind of starting to get used to seeing from Calamity already. You know, very new into the Vainglory8, but the few games we saw from them in the challenge battles, all throughout the Challenger series, if you watch that, this is how they play. They are so cohesive and just such a dominant force to be dealt with. And Leon, again, as an individual in the lane, huge advantages from the start of the game.
Yeah, what I saw is the key is this is the 6-minute mark. They get the first turret, they have double attention bow, and then they get 3 kills, right? They take the first turret. Just Man with Lyra has to position better against a comp like this. He gets caught out 4 times. 4 times in this game. The second time he gets caught out, they lose the Sentry. They lose the Gold Mine. The third time he gets caught out, they die and lose the fight. The 4th time they get caught out, Calamity takes the 3rd turret. So like, this is huge for a Lyra comp. You can't frontline. You have to position better, especially a Cath and a crew that just wants to engage and get on top of Celeste. He's got to play more cautious, and I feel like that's why Calamity did so well. Is they were decisive. Look again, he gets caught out and just blows up. You know, they disable him and then they get on Celeste and then they just blow up the team. I mean, Calamity just, they're so good at engaging.
And one of the problems for Mousesports here was, well, you just said, you know, Lyra can't be the front line there, but they didn't have a front line in this game. Like, Glaive was the closest thing, that two-way front line they had, and he was getting dropped just as quickly as the rest of the team. There was nothing to keep Calamity from getting onto that Celeste, and once they got onto Celeste, fights were over.
Yeah, and I feel like we're starting to see a bit of a counter to the Grace and Lyra that we've seen so much in these silences. Like, yes, you have sustain in these fights, but if you can't use your abilities, you can't sustain anyone. You remove the healing from the fight until it's already too late. And I mean, that's a perfect example of it in that game. We'll see whether that can continue to happen. I want to talk more about the Crawl here, because Crawl seems to be a pick now that's being slotted into a great many compositions. And it's having varying rates of success, but the top teams specifically always seem to succeed with it. What is it about this Cruel that makes it so strong, that makes it such a viable pick right now?
Normally, it's a double tension bow build, and Cruel is such a great front line, and he does so much damage with tension bow and his smite stacks. You snowball the game from there, and then that's how they win. However, you fall behind and you lose a key fight like G2 did, and then the team gets double Atlas against you. Your win condition is basically countered, and that's where you could lose with Cruel, but you just have to snowball like Calamity did here today.
So would you say it's similar? It's almost like the new version of what Grumpjaw was 3 weeks ago, where it's like...
It's actually extremely similar, because it's all about winning the early game, not letting your opponents get to the late game, but Cruel, his entire purpose in these compositions is to take a target out of the fight, and just essentially make it a 2 versus 3, even before you find that first kill. And that's the whole point of the Krull here. And I think teams are starting to like it a little bit more than the Grumpjaw, just because it has a little bit more durability and it can last a little bit longer before it really starts to fall off like the Grumpjaw does.
All right, we'll see if we get another Krull sneaking through in this draft we're about to kick off now. And also, whether Mousesports can get themselves together just a little bit here. They've had 2 weeks of the Vainglory8 where they were not really performing to the level, but they have run out of buffer. They had a huge amount of points to rest on while they had a couple of weeks to not really do as well. They are out of time now. They can't afford any more losses.
Yeah, for sure. And it looks like the draft has shifted because Calamity has always banned Grumpjaw in the challenge battle. So they're going to keep that open and go ahead and take away the Kestrel and deny it from Mousesports here. So Kestrel seems like a huge priority now in EU as a carry. She's kind of taking the place of Vox, it looks like. So now Mousesports needs to decide to ban Lyra, Gray, or Grace here. Or they can just ban a carry like Vox and leave both healers open so that they can then match against the Grace or Lyra pick of Calamity here. So I think, oh, there's go ahead straight away, take away that crew. We're like, hey, we don't want to deal with it.
Not having any of it right
However,
now.
I don't like that ban because if you're on B side, it's okay. Like if they pick up crew on A side, then you can pick a Sky or Petal into that and just counter it completely. So I don't know why they would waste the ban on crew on B side here.
I think that's maybe a situation where they're like, you know what, we don't know how to deal with this Krull. We don't want to deal with this Krull. Just get it off the board, get it out of my face.
It also could be a situation where they don't play the Krull themselves.
Yeah.
And you're not comfortable playing a pick that you feel like your opponents can do a lot of work with. You have to ban it away. That's why having a deep hero pool is so important, as it is going to be Vox Idris as the pick and ban for Mousesports.
I kind of wish they banned Baron instead. That does leave Baron open for Calamity. I haven't seen Leon play Baron actually because he likes Idris, he likes Blackfeather, etc. So we'll see if that's going to come out today on the side of Calamity. I think for here they probably will take away the Lyra and actually, wow, they're going to actually deny the Cath and not give it over to Vox. So that leaves Lyra open for Mousesports.
They could be looking for a Baron.
Yeah, that's
if they're going to ban away the Catherine there. Obviously, Baron is still open. It's not going to go over to Mousesports because they already have the Vox selected. So,
hey, man.
Definitely seems to
CP
me
Vox
where
jungle.
they're going to be going.
CP Vox jungle.
Yeah, that's the dream right there. We've seen crazy picks of the Vainglory8. That's probably not going to be one of them. Blackfeather.
Wants to play Baron.
Oh, they take the Blackfeather.
I can believe it.
I like this draft. They take the Blackfeather knowing that Calamity is not going to pick the Lyra, of course, because that's just going to be a throw if they try to weapon part the Grace, as we've seen before. So
the Baron.
Is picked up. So now Mousesports needs to, decide what they're going to do here. So
all right, well, those are the North American points, but we'll get back on into this draft.
Just in case you were wondering.
So now
you mentioned Von C, and there's like, oh, TSM, here's how strong they are.
There's Petal, there's Koshka. We see Eon play all those heroes. I think one out of those two, I think we'll probably see that come out here. He has played a Petal successfully into a Blackfeather and just dominated a CP Blackfeather with a Petal. So I wouldn't be surprised if I see it here. But he also can play Koshka, and Koshka with Baron and Grace. That's extremely strong North American meta composition there if we see Calamity pick that up. Other heroes that we've seen him play Scarf, but I don't think Scarf will probably come out here. And yep, Petal's going to come out.
All right.
And man, he has such a success rate against a Blackfeather here. And then most likely Mousesports will end this with a Lyra or an Arden, but I think Lyra makes the most sense for them here.
When we saw Aeon's Petal in the challenge battles, he made Petal look overpowered, right? It's one of those where it's
vicious.
Like you don't expect it to be good, or not that you don't expect it to be good, but then when this guy plays it specifically, it's like a totally different hero. He just plays it to perfection. And now Mousesports, like, well, Lyra is going to be the pick in the end. I was going to ask how you go against the Petal. Like, what does the playstyle have to be right here for Mousesports to play around this Petal, to play around the Baron?
Yeah, they probably won't do this, but a weapon power the Black Feather and then the CP jungle the Vox. Like, seriously, it would work. It will work. I actually have seen it work. So
I mean, I don't want to say I'm a prophet, but
CP Vox into a Petal is actually really strong because you have so many opportunities to get those resonance bounces and build up your Broken Myth once you get later on into the game. The Munions are going to be in melee no matter what, so you get lots of free resonance bounces. But I don't think they're gonna go that way.
Yeah, they probably
just
won't.
because it's such an off kilter.
Yeah. But it would work for them. Like Black Feather can dive in, CP Vox can just then hit Grace or hit Petal, and then Baron would take all the damage.
Obviously, we've got replays right here of Aeon like making work happen on this battle. This was one of those beautiful fights that they had during the challenge battles against G2 specifically. We'll see whether they can reenact that here in the Vainglory8. It's just about time to get on into this game then. Like the CP Vox, it's likely not going to be seen, right? It's not something that they're going to have been practicing coming into this one. Is that something that, in this situation, you kind of just have to go for anyway?
You have to. If they do Weapon Vox, CP Black, they're going to lose. Aeon's going to just completely destroy the Black Feather in jungle, like he's done twice already.
All right, so very confident in Aeon's Petal then. I see how it is. Well, we want to know who you guys at home are confident in as well. Use that hashtag Vainglory8. This is going to be a very big game for Mouse right now. They cannot afford to lose these points. And Calamity right now making a statement. This is one of the top 3 teams that they are currently demolishing right now. We'll see if they can keep this going. Let's head on into this game between Calamity Reborn and Mousesports.
Calamity Reborn with the Grace, Baron, and okay, Petal coming out at the end. We know these guys have been playing it, making it work. And on the flip side, I'm looking at this Mouse draft, and I'm like, have they drafted themselves into a corner here, Jackson?
I feel like they might have. Can you hear that?
Can I?
Okay, no, maybe not. I'm rubbing my hands together by the mic in excitement. All right, so.
No!
Yeah, so this, I remember we were going through the draft, Humanist and I were chatting in our little, our chat channel outside of the analyst desk, and we were saying, oh, they got Grace, that's bad news for Mousesports. They got Baron too? What's going on here? Yeah, Mouse, this is going to be a rough game, but if they can get ahead, Petal really, what? This is a different invade.
I was going to say, if Reborn gets out of this one, he's just a god, but he just hangs around because Apfel doesn't stick around. The dude does secure his back here, and he should be able to get the backs, but Reborn holding on to his boots is going to hang around here. And let's see if he can get one of these. He's playing games. I'm the Doom gets one of his backs. Reborn hanging around, just getting his basics off. We'll use the boots to get himself out of here at the end. Mouse able to secure all their backs.
Yeah, pretty nice. It could have been obviously better if they'd actually kind of camped. Rear-end, you don't have boots anymore. This is when things start to get a little hairy for my liking. You get that one? No, okay. Aeon's here, though. They might be able to find some damage if Mouse had committed to a fight there. Anyway, let's return to the previous points. So, if Mouse gets ahead early, then they actually can get an insurmountable lead against Calamity. The way you do this is you apply pressure before Baron has overdrive on jump jets, so that right bulwark really shuts him down. And if Petal falls behind, I think she's one of the heroes in the game that just has a really rough time doing anything when she's not on curve for items and stuff, so it's definitely possible, but I think that Grace patches up a lot of the openings that Mouse would normally have to shut down a Baron and shut down a Petal, and mess with their ability to get to where they need to be. Because I think in the mid game, this is, even with the Baron, who historically was considered a late game hero, is not something that really Mouse can deal with very well. Petal has too much disruption for the Black Feather, like you were telling me before. If you try and dive in, those Petal Munion seeds are going to be actually very annoying. On top of that, I think it's very difficult for Vox to find the right targets and also stay safe against Grace, who's going to be great at running disruption, basically. This is, it's really hard. Mouse jungle is going to be critical, and so far, they're not showing much ability to make that one work. I think that they need to do a 3-man rotation down to the jungle at some point soon.
Well, we'll see if they can execute on any of those strategies that you're talking about there. Feels like they're going to have to do something special. For now, it's just Apfel trying to farm up in the lane. I would expect that he goes for our pretty typical Vox build that we've seen regularly built up with that point. We'll hold that thought. Leon with the double attacks coming out with the jump jets. Rear-end jumps in. And this is it's just kind of poking harass right here. Looks like nobody will be going down at the end of it. But Apfel should be going for our pretty typical Vox build.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. It's also worth noting, by the way, that you might look at this on the surface and be like, okay, each team has some sustain on their captain, similar kind of playstyle, what have you. It's actually really different because Rear-end only has the heal at level 6. It does mean that these trades could go very wrong for for Calamity if they're not careful.
Aeon trampolines up towards the lane, but Mouse able to reposition underneath the turret, so they're going to be quite all right. Aeon might have lost a Munyon or two, but no problem. He'll just go ahead and respawn those. They found I'm the Doom, though. I'm the Doom taking a whole bunch of damage. How about a Holy Nova from Reborn and a first blood coming through for Calamity Reborn?
Yep, that was way overextension from I'm the Doom. Grace is one of those here that can punish that very effectively. As soon as Aeon gets a Frostburn, he's going to be able to deal with this Black Feather very effectively also. So really, got to keep your eyes out for those kinds of rotations. I'm the Doom needs backup from Just Man to be effective here.
Kind of a game-defining moment right here as Calamity look to apply a little pressure in the jungle. Aeon will be able to take the mid. Ria-Rin, though, taking a whole bunch of damage. Ria-Rin potentially going down. Holds up for a Holy Nova. Stops them in their tracks, and now I'm the Doom taking a bunch of damage. Aeon forward aggressively. Aeon showing he knows how to play this hero. And this hero's not so bad after all.
That was pretty crazy. It definitely could have gone the other way, but Calamity Reborn making it happen. This is a rough spot for Mousesports. I said that they needed to have a lead in the early game, not have a lead garnered against them. This is the opposite of what they needed, that's for sure. We've also got big item power spike coming through from Calamity Reborn. Sub 5 minute Sarblade from Leon. Rear-end has now picked up the Fountain of Renewal. These are things that help you in the situations where Mouse normally would have the edge early on.
I do not enjoy playing against Barons who get Sorrow Blades under 5 minutes. That's just not fun. But if he jumps out with the jump jets and just slaps you twice, what are you gonna do? Apfel really not even wanting to put even a light armor up. I mean, he's not building anything at all, so he's just gonna get chunked through. He's building towards that tension bow. I'm the Doom with the on-point connects, but they turned it around. Great bulwark. I'm the Doom getting melted down. Fountain keeping him alive. Can they find the damage? Yes, they can. Baron coming through. Big attacks. 225 damage there. 210 damage onto the Black Feather. And Calamity Reborn just absolutely just putting Mouse under the hurt stick.
Yeah, that was brutal. Oh, they want more.
They're gonna go for more. And Jackson, Justman melting low. Aeon dropping as low. It's actually Ria-Rin dropping the lowest. They get the Fountain. They get the heal. It's all calculated in the end. He's able to get out. Leon with jump jets forward. Apfel, oh, big damage coming out. He will be able to stay alive, but he's just living on the edge. I'm the Doom trying to land an on point there, but it's not enough to scare Calamity too much. Absolute dominance.
Yeah, really, really strong stuff there. And you were talking about building defense. One thing that is important to remember, actually, is that you cannot really build defense effectively against the comp that Calamity Reborn has. There's a very diversified damage threat. You know, you've got a lot of crystal damage, even quite early, on the side of the pedal. And then Baron, you know, with this early Sarblade, is dealing pretty incredible amounts of weapon damage, too. So you don't have a good option. You just don't.
Well, you say, what would I rather lose to, a pedal or a Baron? I don't know, I would lose to the pedal. It's okay. If you have to choose, pick your poison here. Mouse as 3, trying to hang out, make something happen, but Ria-Rin, a very durable, tanky, wonderful frontliner in this Grace, and why we were surprised is still picked up jump jets forward, couple basic splashing, they just melt Apfel down, they're looking for more. Just Man should go down, look at that spontaneous combustion. Aeon takes some damage, but not enough to take him down. Trampoline forward, I'm the Doom goes down, double kill for Leon. And kind of what we were talking about in the draft really starting to just come to light here.
Yeah, it's doing a lot of work right now. 7-0 at 7 minutes. Calamity Reborn look, frankly, pretty unstoppable. I don't know what the correct answer is from Mouse right now. I think they've missed their window of opportunity to be maximum efficacy here.
Wow. So if you've missed your window of opportunity, I mean, I'd have to ask you as my colorcaster, do these guys have another window of opportunity that's going to come around at any point? Or Well,
I don't know. Like, I think Calamity Reborn would have to open the window for them.
Oh
Like,
my
that's
goodness.
simply
Calamity,
put.
do you feel like being a pal and opening a window? Arcane Passage back. Leon, do you want to go? Do you want to play some games? Do you want to get real deep into enemy territory? It looks like Calamity Reborn, while in pole position, while having, you know, control of this game, still showing a little bit of patience there.
Calamity Reborn, how much patience do you need when you can do that, Leon?
Ion
That
Cannon
can kill
coming
Apple.
down, smoke him!
Oh.
He got the kill! Oh, it's so good! Ion Cannon kills coming through, double kill, 330 damage. How about a little crit off that Lucky Strike? And Calamity Reborn fans, raise your dongers in the chat. It is time. Leon has begun to crit. Leon has begun his path to be #1 in the Vainglory8. Looking like it's going to be pretty hard to stop this team the way they're playing.
Yeah, draft was definitely a problem this year, though. Giving away all of the priority picks, basically, just seems like an overly risky plan to me. But sometimes you think you got a silver bullet answer, and you really don't. Let's see what happens, though. Mouse, at least they're getting some vision down. They definitely need to keep doing that, I would say. Keep getting more and more vision down.
I would say that is a solid analysis there. Justman going to do his best. And what's crazy to me, you have like an all-star in every position. I say Apfel, Justman, I'm the Doom, for their positions are some of the best out there in competitive Vainglory right now. And they are just across the board getting shut down. Surprisingly, Justman having a very small impact on his picks here today. And on this Lyra, really struggling. Like, it just makes me wonder, like, what can Justman actually do as like a playmaker captain on this pick? They get the sigil to get I'm the Doom boosted out of there. Holy Nova not quite connecting. You see a nice jump. They jump right back forward. Here's the aggressive play from Mouse. They can't find the damage. Oh, divine intervention keeping Leon alive. I'm the Doom will be melted down. Apfel out towards the west side, and an ace coming through. 12-0. Calamity 10 minutes in.
Man, the damage is just too much for Leon right now. You saw I'm the Doom be on top of him, but it just didn't accomplish nearly enough. I think maybe Calamity fights one more time at the base here and then wins. Unless they get chunked like that. You gotta be careful.
But I mean, if you want to tank the turret, then that's a pretty good opportunity for Mouse.
Yeah, I mean, there is good poke damage on I'm the Doom, but so much sustain with the spontaneous combustion and the Grace ultimate. Getting pretty scary.
Yeah, that's another thing. I think, you know, Petal, a lot of times we think of this hero in a certain way. Spontaneous combustion, that's another healing tool for your team. So between the Grace, between that spontaneous combustion, I think a really good point you make. It's so easy to keep Leon alive, especially if Leon, a very aware player, is positioning himself where your minions are in a fight. It can be really hard to stop.
Absolutely. Goldmine going down again for Calamity Reborn. I'm not sure if they really need to wait for anything in particular to just keep the aggression coming here. I think, looking at their money, yeah, it's not a good window where they're going to get one more item upgrade. Mostly, I would just go in.
I would just go in.
I think that's the play.
I think secretly you just want to give Mouse a chance. Calamity, do not.
I don't know. I don't want to give Mouse a chance. I feel like Calamity don't need to play around anything right now. They're just that ahead.
It's true. They're pretty disgustingly far ahead. Jump jets forward. 2 attacks going to come out here. Very good damage. Reborn jumps forward here. Can they find the target with the Arcane Passage out? Ion Cannon right in the perfect place. How did you know to put the Ion Cannon there? Leon, predictive play coming out. Jump jets forward. I'm the Doom getting melted down. Huge critical strikes. 444 damage. 523 damage coming out. Splashing onto 2. Leon thinking about killing them up at the healing platform there. He's going to think twice about that as they pull back as a group here. It's only 12 minutes in. A lot of times you think, maybe you just decide to go for Kraken or something. Pull back, take another objective. It's like, they can't take Gold 9, that's got to fill up. Crystal Sentry, that's been killed off the map. There's just not much to do.
There's nothing left. There's no solid thing for Calamity to do other than push, which is part of the reason why I think they should just do that. That being said, they can take their time and choke out the jungle resources and just go for a Kraken on spawn if they want to play it safe. Certainly not the end of the world if they do want to do that.
Look at Leon's items, dude.
It's just... I got nothing, Humanist. I'm trying,
dream.
I got nothing.
Sweet dreams, Mousesports. more like a nightmare for them. Sweet dreams. Calamity just really putting on a showing. What an amazing way to show up in your debut series. Questions on the table from everybody. They're like, okay, well, we've seen you guys here before. Let's see what you can do. You know, Mousesports. They were the super hot team. You know, we expected. Okay, probably Calamity Reborn do pretty good, but Mousesports. Yeah, it seems like they should come out on top. No, none of that. Zero of that at all. Calamity just writing the story here.
I really did think that there was a substantial chance that Mousesports won this series prior to the series beginning.
Yeah.
So, shows you how wrong I was. Very wrong. Very, very wrong. Calamity Reborn, there is a surprise factor here to an extent, though, that you gotta take into some amount of consideration. Like, Mousesports might not have been quite as prepared for the pedal pick as maybe we were on the desk, because although you see them playing it, are they really going to play it when it matters? You know, that's a big question when it's not the Challenger Series and when they're in such a critical game. It can be hard to expect that.
I would say that in like a community-run guild tournament, but here, I don't know, my expectation's a little higher, especially for Mousesports being like tied in the top 3 for Europe.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a very fair point. Let's see, though. Let's see. Mousesports are in a bad position right now. They got flanked.
Yeah, they are in a real bad place. A lot of damage coming out onto Petal, but she does get the heal. This is the jump forward by Blackfeather, and I am the Doom just blown up. Justman can't do enough to keep his ally alive. And this should be Apfel going down. The triple kill for Leon comes through. Cherry on top of the cake. Leon, 12, what was he, 11-0 game 1? 12-0-2 here in game 2. 16-0 in 14.5 minutes for Calamity Reborn. Not only that, my man, he had, at 12 minutes, he had 160 farm. He had 182 farm here to end the game at like 14.5 minutes in. With all of the kills, all of the fighting. Sometimes you see a hero who has a bunch of kills and you're like, okay, well, he doesn't have so much CS because he's been fighting and killing people. But he was fighting, killing people, and getting the CS.
I'm trying to think, have you ever seen a more dominant game of VG8? I think that might be the most dominant I've ever seen. Calamity Reborn is a team you just gotta watch, Humans.
I have no more to say about it. I'm not even going to try to analyze it. We have guys much more qualified to do that. So let's go ahead and just give everybody a break from us. Throw it back over to the analyst desk.
I mean, if anyone was questioning whether Calamity Reborn were going to be strong in the Vainglory8, I feel like that has to answer your question. Now, there was one very key mistake that happened in this game. I'm going to pass it straight over to Sweej here to break down what went wrong here for Mousesports. Sweej, do you want to give me a bit of a...
Hey guys, so 2 key mistakes, okay? So, and I just got to point this out, guys. This is crazy. First off, Cruel ban on B side. That's a first ban. You're going to waste the first ban on Cruel. No team first picks a Cruel. It just doesn't make sense. No one's going to first pick a Cruel. And you're on B side. You can counter pick into a Cruel. And lastly, of course, as we saw in this game, this guy, this big bad guy, Baron. You're letting Baron go through and you're paying him Vox. You saw the result, 16-0. So just some draft 101. So hopefully next time we won't see this happen again, but we can see why Baron is so deadly.
Yeah, I mean, this game was ridiculous. Leon himself on that Baron, 12 kills in the end, 2 assists, a kill or an assist for every minute of the game. That is ridiculous on a singular player. I mean, Bacon, what happened to Mouse? Where did they go?
They went into oblivion as the dust particles from these rocket shots just like, that's really, it's so tough to say like where they went, because this was just absolute dominance from Calamity. Yeah. I mean, Leon, you know, you mentioned the kills and assists. How about his creep score?
I love this shot with the ult there on Apfel. That's beautiful.
But like, how about his CS? He had a 40 CS lead in game number 1. I